Joining us now from our Washington, D.C. bureau is Seth Grae. He is the president and chief executive of Lightbridge Corporation. Lightbridge develops nuclear fuel technology and also provides consulting services. Seth Grae, great to have you with us again on Bloomberg. For those that do not know about Lightbridge, just explain a little bit about your company, because you don't build nuclear reactors. You're really in the technology business.
Right, Pimm. Lightbridge designs nuclear fuel that can go into the existing reactors as well as new ones. And our new nuclear fuel technology will increase the power output of the reactors, increase the economics, but also significantly expand the safety benefits of nuclear fuel, increase the safety margins in the reactors, as well as enhance the proliferation resistance. And as you said, we're also the lead advisors to several national governments in how to deploy nuclear power safely.
Now, Seth, can you explain what is metal fuel technology, MFT, to all of you in the nuclear industry? What is it, and what sets it apart from the nuclear technology that is in many of the power plants already up and running?
The nuclear technology in the power plants that are up and running is basically not that much different than what was designed in the 1950s, when most people had radios in their houses before black and white TVs, what's called uranium dioxide fuel rods. The metal fuel rods that Lightbridge has been working on for many years and is testing now in reactors for commercial deployment is a totally different concept. Instead of pellets stacked up inside a tube, it's a solid extruded metallic rod that has much stronger safety characteristics and increases the power of the reactor by up to 30% as well. So it's a solid metal rod instead of pellets inside a tube, and it has a lot of benefits.
Now, what about cooling? Because, of course, we've all had to learn about the coolant and the cooling issues related to the nuclear power plant in Japan, in Fukushima. What is metal fuel technology and its relationship to different types of cooling within the nuclear power plant?
Yeah, it's significant, Pimm. The current uranium dioxide fuel used in reactors runs at about 1,800 degrees centigrade, which is very hot. The Lightbridge metal fuel, even with a 30% power uprate to the reactor, runs at 380 degrees centigrade and about 335 degrees without the power uprate. So it's about a quarter the heat in a reactor. And in an emergency situation, that's dramatically less heat to get out of the fuel rods, out of the core in the reactor, and that heat transfers out of the metal rods much, much faster.
Now, Seth, there's also something else, because if something were to happen to a nuclear power plant, there's the ability, or in some cases the inability, to contain the radiation. And with this new metal fuel technology, you say that this is a different type of bonding or cladding process. Without getting too technical, explain a little bit more.
Without getting too technical, normally what you have is a fuel rod that's a hollow tube. It's kind of like a straw made of metal with pellets of uranium stacked up inside it. And this produces gases inside the tube that can build up, and if that tube cracks, release those radioactive gases into the water in the reactor and then into the air inside the plant and potentially into the outside environment. This metal fuel, the solid fuel, produces most of these radioactive products in a solid form instead of a gaseous form, because it's running at such a cooler temperature. And even if there's a slight crack somewhere along the rod, there's no gas to leak out from it. It can't release that kind of gas and radiation into the water or into the plant or into the atmosphere.
Seth, last question, 5 seconds. When do we get an MFT nuclear plant?
The United States has given Lightbridge the first approval ever for a commercial fuel tested in the U.S. government's largest test reactor.
Looking forward to seeing you in the future. Seth Grae from Lightbridge. This is Taking Stock.